But anyway, Patrick touched on it. Fabio Jakobsen, phenomenal sprinter, arguably the best sprinter in the world. I would say Groenewegen right now, but Jakobsen, well, Ewan might disagree here. Him leaving Quickstep, do you think it's a good idea? We have a video of on the Cycling Dane channel talking about the numerous sprinters who have left and gone on to worse things. Gaviria, Cavendish, Kittel, you name it, and yeah, they've all kind of not amounted to anything as sprinters. But yeah, what do you guys think of this?
Yes, while we are alluding to Fabio Jakobsen, the current European champion, who is out of contract this year, and rumor has it that he is moving elsewhere. The big leads here come courtesy of our sources over at Wielerflits, the Dutch language press, that highlights that Fabio Jakobsen is linked to Bora Hansgrohe and Team DSM. The strongest rumor of these is Bora Hansgrohe, who are willing to put money on the table, and they also offer a strong train, which Jakobsen apparently himself has said is a key priority in his move. This is a pretty convincing rumor. It's being reported now by a number of other outlets, and the initial Wielerflits article says that it's been confirmed by multiple sources that Bora Hansgrohe and Jakobsen are looking towards this potential move. DSM also want to get involved, but they don't quite have the money to put on the table, but they said they are willing to put the money on the table to bring in a big name sprinter. Jakobsen's Dutch, the team is, DSM is Dutch. We spoke about this the other week when we discussed Koi, but it could be a good sort of marriage there. But at the moment, Bora looking like the most likely players for Jakobsen to end up next year.
I'm quite excited in a way because it sounds like we're going to have some sort of sprinter merry-go-round this year. You know, Jakobsen might leave Quickstep and go to Bora, and then Koi's going to be going somewhere else, and it's going to be our sprinters then going to leave those teams. I think DSM, it makes so much sense for them to try and get a big sprinter because the sprinters are they're very prolific. Let's face it, trying to get a GC rider who's more prolific than a Pogacar or Vingegaard is currently impossible. So therefore, you may as well try and get a good sprinter because that is the second best thing that you can definitely do. Jakobsen is very fast. Koi is also very fast. I think, yeah, either of those would work at DSM. Bora, though, they do have a very strong train. I absolutely agree with that. But Bennett? Where does Bennett fit into this whole equation as well? Is he getting shifted? What's going on with that? What do you reckon?
This feels like a sort of similar situation to 2019 when all hands were on deck for Pascal Ackermann, and Bennett, despite being the most successful sprinter that year at the squad, felt like he was being sized out. Sam Bennett, in fact, doesn't have a contract next year, so he could be seeking greener pastures elsewhere. I don't believe there's any rumors at the moment for Sam Bennett, who's now 32 years of age. He'll be 33 by the time next season kicks off. So he may be looking to make what might be his final professional transfer at the World Tour level. Even if it is the World Tour level, who knows? But for Bora Hansgrohe, we saw Danny van Poppel has recently extended with the squad, and Fabio Jakobsen and Danny van Poppel have actually worked together at the European Championships last year in Munich, which was won by the Dutch squad and by Fabio Jakobsen. They both celebrated coming across the line. They seem to get on very well. And, I think this Bora move could make an awful lot of sense. Bora do have GC riders in the shape of Sasha Vlasov and Jai Hindley. How Jakobsen will have his chances elsewhere, we don't know, but he has to wrestle with the same factors when he was racing with Remco Evenepoel whilst at Soudal-Quickstep. So this looks to be the most viable option on the table, and we wait and see if it does come into fruition in the weeks to come.
And also, Jakobsen won't have to change any equipment because Bora also uses Specialized and stuff, so there's no big changes or anything there. So everything's all nicely hunky-dory. It's not like he's having to change group sets or bike frames or whatever. It's all just a nice seamless transition to what is essentially just like another quick step, apart from he'll probably have a lot better support, considering that Van Poppel is currently kind of considered to be probably the best lead-out man in the world. I reckon that he's moved past Morkov in a lot of people's opinions. I know there are some people who still believe Morkov is the absolute god of lead-outs, but I don't know, a lot of people hype up Van Poppel, and I gotta agree with him. He is pretty freaking good.
I mean, Mikel Marko is also quite old right now. So, yeah. So you think Bora is a good move for Jakobsen or no? Or should he stay in Quickstep?
I reckon he should go to Bora. The more I'm thinking about it, the more it makes sense.
As much as staying at Soudal also makes sense, given that he's been there for so long, and we can't really imagine him elsewhere. It makes sense for him to go to Bora. Remember, Tim Merlier is actually contracted until 2025, I believe. So he's on for a couple of years, and Merlier has been performing better than Jakobsen has this year. Belgian versus Dutch interest. Maybe Merlier is going to be favored in the years to come. And Merlier actually maybe has a stronger Grand Tour record in terms of sprints than Jakobsen does. I retract that previous statement. I retract that.
He does, though.
Because thinking about it now, Jakobsen's got more Grand Tour stages.
No, but like the Tour last year
because
wasn't
Jakobsen
great.
absolutely cleaned up in the 2022 Vuelta. Yeah, the Tour last year, Jakobsen got a win and then struggled to make the time cut.
My man's a sprinter. But nevertheless, I think, this move to Bora can make an awful lot of sense. And it's nice to have a real sort of headline-grabbing transfer at this time of year.